Hello everybody, Internet back again, another video. Alright guys, today's video is going to be about a topic that I have thought about for quite a long time since the ATP Tour Finals in Turin ended. To be quite honest, I've thought about who is the player of the 2022 season. Who is that? And when I've thought about this topic, has been only three names that has popped up in my head. These three players, all of these three players, they have made the case for themselves who the player of the year of the 2022 season on the men's side is. Everybody of these three players, they have their own case that who that player is, because let's face it, we are talking about only three players only three candidates who can be the player of the year. All the others really doesn't stand a chance. And those three players I'm talking about is, you can guess it by now, it is Alcaraz, Nadal or Djokovic. These three players, according to me, are the three best players of the 2022 season. These three players have been the best three players of the 2022 season. These three players have achieved the most of all the players on the men's side of the 2022 season. And all three of them have their own cases. Who of these three is the absolute best of the 2022 season? Let's start with Carlos Alcaraz and his case for being the best player of the 2022 season. He has won 57 matches and he has lost 13 matches. He has played 18 tournaments and he has won 5 titles out of these 18 tournaments that he has played. 3 of these titles out of 5 titles that he has won the entire 2022 season are big titles. 2 Master 1000 titles, he won Miami Open and he won Madrid. And of course, the biggest title that Carlos Alcaraz won in his 2022 campaign was the US Open. His biggest title in his career so far. And his first ever Grand Slam title so far in his career. So there you have Carlos Alcaraz campaign in the 2022 season. Then we have Novak Djokovic. Novak Djokovic, he won 42 matches and lost 7 matches. He played 7 matches, to be quite honest. One of them is in the Rod Laver Cup, a tournament which I personally don't consider a competition tournament. For me, that is an exhibition tournament. So, but anyway, if you look all the matches that Djokovic has played, so he has won 42 matches and lost 7 matches. He has played 11 tournaments. I'm not counting the Rod Laver Cup. He has played 11 tournaments, Novak Djokovic, and he has won incredibly 5 out of 11 tournaments that he has played. Novak. Because we all know that Novak has been not allowed to play many big tournaments. 2 of them are Grand Slams, the Australian Open and US Open. He was not allowed to play, like we all know, due to his vaccine status. We all know that he has not taken the vaccine, and he has not been allowed to play in many big tournaments. 2 of them are Grand Slams, Australian Open and US Open, and a couple of them are Master 1000 tournaments. Despite all this, Djokovic won as many tournaments as Carlos Alcaraz. Djokovic and Carlos Alcaraz has won most titles the entire ATP Tour field, both winning 5 titles each. So, but the difference is here that Carlos Alcaraz has played many more tournaments than Novak Djokovic. Carlos Alcaraz, he played 18 tournaments. Novak Djokovic, he played only 11 tournaments. So Carlos Alcaraz has played 7 more tournaments than Novak Djokovic. Despite that, Djokovic won as many tournaments as Carlos Alcaraz. Anyway, Djokovic, he won exactly like Carlos Alcaraz as well. Djokovic won 5 titles, and 3 of them was big titles. He won 1 Master 1000 title, Rome, and he won 1 Grand Slam title, Wimbledon, and he won ATP Tour Finals in Turin, which also is a big title. So Djokovic wins 3 out of 5 titles that he won in the 2022 season. 3 of them were big titles. All right, that was Djokovic, the second candidate to be the best player of the 2022 season. The third candidate, which is of course Rafael Nadal. He won the least titles out of these 3 candidates. He won 4 titles, Rafael Nadal, and 2 of them are huge titles, my tennis friends all around the world. And those big, huge titles I'm talking about, you know that by now, are Australian Open and French Open. Those are huge titles. If you look at all match and wins and losses that Rafael Nadal has had the entire season, he won 39 matches and lost 8 matches, Rafael Nadal. So Rafael Nadal did a pretty good job in the wins and a loss percentage there. He wins 39 matches and loses only 8 matches. Rafael Nadal played 12 tournaments, 1 more tournament than Novak Djokovic, and out of these 12 tournaments that Rafa played, he won 4 titles. So that is a good resume according to me. Rafael did a great season until the Wimbledon. He did a great first 7 months of the season, where he won 2 Grand Slam titles and 2 other smaller events. 4 titles in total Rafael Nadal won. After Wimbledon, Rafael Nadal didn't do a great season, to be quite honest. He really didn't, guys. He had some health issues. He didn't have he was not in his best shape after Wimbledon. So after Wimbledon, Rafael Nadal was actually really weak. But before Wimbledon and the first 7 months, he did really a good season, especially winning 2 Grand Slam titles, which are the Australian Open and French Open. So all these 3 players have done great seasons, because when you win, all these 3 players have won majors. All these 3 players have all the 4 majors that has been won from these 3 players. 2 from Nadal, Australian Open and French Open, 1 from Novak Djokovic, the Wimbledon, and 1 from Alcaraz, US Open. But when I consider all these 3 players and their seasons, who is the best player of the year? Who has done the best season? Who is the player of the year? Who has done the biggest damage of the year? Who has been the most successful player of the year? I was thinking, who is one of these 3 players? Who is the winner here? Who, if I have a title to give one of these 3 players here, I will receive the title to you for being the best player of the year. We all know that Carlos Alcaraz, he ended as the world number 1, which I should also throw out there and mention it. He ended as the year-end number 1, Carlos Alcaraz. All of these 3 players have their own cases to be the best player of the year. But my decision, in the end of the day, to be quite honest, my tennis friends all around the world, was easy. Do you know why? But what is the biggest prize in tennis? What are the Tennis World Cup? Which is the biggest measure in tennis? Which is the biggest title you can win in tennis. Which is the tennis player's biggest dream in winning when they play tennis? It is the Grand Slams, my tennis friends all around the world. And the player who has won most Grand Slams in this 2022 season is Rafael Nadal with 2 Grand Slam titles. And Rafael Nadal, according to me, is the best player of the 2022 season. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and see you next time. Peace.